as the as the pinnacle of as the pinnacle of the course, like you said, I'm the head of the atonement, which I elected to undertake um, through the resurrection, but it really comes through when he's talking to Helen. It's just
Oh
like,
gosh.
geez, Louise, man. If I if
Mm.
if I was Helen, I wouldn't even dare to say I don't want to take notes today. It wouldn't.
Oh,
There
but
would be
no,
no.
she was like this. There's that one
She had
scene, it's my
so much
favorite scene.
resistance. She had
Oh,
so much, like, there's so many times. And even Bill, if you watch the story of A Course in Miracles, where Bill's leaning on that tree stump, and he's like saying, I had to encourage Helen, who was really,
yeah.
and he's a psychologist, clinical psychologist. He's used to dealing with people that have a lot of resistance, So for it even to show up as something that he would notice, you know, like people
Mm.
that do the same sorts of things all the time generally don't pick up on things the way that people that encounter it for the first time and that sort of pick up on it. So
Well, they had that relationship too, like they were together like that. So he knew like her tendencies.
yeah,
But that one part, I mean, I haven't read a lot of the notes, but there's that one part always talk about it where Helen, they're scribing and Jesus is right there and Helen is complaining about his grammar.
right,
And she says, she goes, I don't know if I can trust this. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if I can trust this guy. His grammar is off. Da, 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 da.
yeah,
And Jesus says, yo, my grammar's not off. You're not hearing me.
yeah,
And then,
exactly,
but then he says, Helen, oh, I see you're not happy. And I'm just trying to make you happy. I mean, it's
right,
just so beautiful. But then they have this whole section after that where there's describing. And then at the end of that section, he says to her, he says, I see you got the grammar right this time.
right, yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm just so grateful. It's just so
yeah.
beautiful. It's just
Oh
so
man, he's so
beautiful.
patient. He is
So
so patient.
beautiful. So
Infinite
beautiful.
patient, immediate results. That's
And I
that's
just
where
was,
you end up with it.
and then when I just read that, I was just like, I could put my finger on my nose, like my own resistance. And he's like, I'm just trying to make you happy, Tina. I'm just trying
Man,
to make
I'm,
you,
I'm gonna
why are you
I'm gonna
resisting
send
me?
you I'm gonna send you this book I'm reading after I finish it. If I get through it, the
Oh God.
Silmarillion. It's Tolkien. So it's the prequel the
Tolkien?
prequel to the Lord of the Rings. It's like you talk about trying to
Oh,
read grammar, and I know how Tolkien writes, so I'm kind of
oh, it's
down with it,
Tolkien.
But it's like what?
Tolkien. I didn't know what you were saying.
Tolkien, yeah, yeah. No,
You
we're
say
off the course
Tolkien.
for a second.
Tolkien.
But I tried to read Wuthering Heights once, the original edit of Wuthering Heights, to my daughter, um, Bronte. Emily Bronte, and that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
trying to read
Bront.
the grammar from that. Um, what is it? That age, that genre, that you know, but and we both gave up. Trinity was like
Mm,
sort of 9, 10. She just learnt to read fluently, and I'm like, right, let's read this. And we struggled because
beautiful.
like we both struggled through the film. We both struggled
Oh,
through the
really?
book.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's hard, like if it's really hard
Oh,
English. Have you ever read an original copy?
I'm classic. My background is classical theater.
Oh, well, there you go. Wuthering Heights. So
I
Silmarillion's a
mean,
lot
so
like that. It's a lot of
I
back
love
narrative,
language.
and the way that it sort of strains, you're sort of like
Uh,
to understand, and
it makes you have to listen, but it
yeah, it
emotionally like
makes you have.
drives you,
That's why.
like with the
That's exactly
course.
why I'm reading it, right? Because I'm so over familiar with the course. I went into the bookstore and I'm standing at up at Mullaney where I bought it in the little bookstore, and I'm like, all right, I want something to break my habit, break my thing here, and I just stood there and I just opened it to Jesus. I'm like, what am I going to read here, Jesus? I want something to see if I'm in denial, like not denial, but to see if I'm in a comfort zone, if there's some sort of like rhythm to my reading, even.
Yeah.
And straight there on my left hand was Tolkien, and I went, oh my God,
That's
no way.
cool. That's
I
cool.
tried to read The Hobbit like 30 years ago, and it was like, ugh, I didn't get through it. So, but anyway, I'm getting through it. And the thing is, the nature of it is that for me, it is very hard going, and I'm having to constantly
Yeah.
defer and reread. You know how I teach you guys to read the course, and it's just like you've really got to focus and breathe, and I'm doing that with this. Whereas I can read the course, it's like I'm reading like Cat in the Hat. But
And it's got
so
that lovely meter. I mean that's amazing. I mean, I was saying that when I was joined with the Lovelies last week, like reading this stuff, like he just ties it in an iambic pentameter. So you're
right,
just tied in, but the emotionality that he's able to bring out and the ideas in that meter is like
Yeah.
so brilliant. Like how can you think that this came from like this mind? It can't. It was just it's so beautifully done with that meter, the
yeah,
emotion and the
no
logic, I
way,
guess. Oh,
no
it's
way. You would have
crazy.
you would have had to sit
Oh,
there for 1,000 years, like writing that, and then and then you channel it through in a couple of years or whatever. But
that's how much we're loved.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, there's no alternative.
Oh
Even
God.
if even if you were thoroughly despised, there is no alternative but to resurrect. So
Just the
you're in it
care, the
in it for a
care.
penny or a pound, whether you like it or not. So
But I like what it says in the Bible when they were coming into, was it Jerusalem? And the disciples were
right,
like woohoo. And the Pharisees were like, y'all, what y'all doing? And he says, the rocks would rejoice.
yeah, right.
Like the rocks will rise up. You can't stop this. You can't stop
No,
this.
you can't stop it.
Woo! I gotta go. I get some water.
All right, let me have a scroll here. We've got a few guys here already. Are we early or are we on time? What's going on? Susan, Malik's here. Susan, Kev's here. Angela, Irek, UK. Irek in the UK, where I saw that massive march with all the flags the other day. Crazy. Millions of people or something. Claire and Natasha, Dave Culbertson in Vietnam, Nash, Deb, beautiful, Matthew, Carolyn. All right, let's is it 8 o'clock? I don't have a yeah. Carolyn's like thumbs up. Yep, I can see Carolyn and Matthew and the top row here, Claire and Natasha and yep, good. So, all right, let's take a few breaths. Close your eyes. In through the nose, out through the top of the head. Just get comfortable, but don't lay down. In through the nose, out through the top of the head. Focus the mind on the here and the now to whatever capacity with your mind training that you're able to do that at this stage. Give it your best old college try. Focus, here I am, Lord. Here I am, Lord. Or you can use God is, therefore so am I. And just hold your mind in silent readiness. Not for any particular thing. Jesus would say to hear the voice for God speaking to you. But for some of you guys, that's going to just confuse things more at this stage. So we'll just go, let's hold our minds in silent readiness. Take a breath. Just hold your mind open to receive that you may give. Breathe in through the nose, out through the top of the head. The reason I say out through the top of the head is because when you begin to access the holy instant, when you begin to realize that you actually are one with all minds and all minds are one, you will feel the top of your head tingling, the bones cracking, popping, and all sorts of things going on. Why it is that way, and historically other references through other spiritual disciplines about the top of the head, the crown, the chakras and everything. I don't get into that because I'm not a follower or believer in all of those particular things in a sense, but it does seem to just be a general thing. And I've never had anyone tell me it's not. And for my own experience, it's not, that the top of the head is a very susceptible part of the avatar to light communication. 99.9% of the time when I open my mind and have a moment of direct light, the top of my head tingles, itches, feels like electricity, which then and you can just liken this to phenomena and it's of no particular importance, but then if I breathe with it, I can bring it down through my body and even direct that tingling, the prana, the chi, whatever you want to call it, to any particular area of my vessel that may perhaps need healing or whatever. If I have a bruise, I can remove the bruise easily through directing the chi energy of which seems to come through the top of the head. And I don't know how to describe that. It's either through, in, of. Somebody's ringing me. Back again. I don't know what happened there. Somebody rang me.
Yeah.
There must be a there we go. There must be a setting that I can turn off phone calls, but I'm not sure. I've got that. Who's that iPhone? The young lady there. There's no name.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't put a name in there. Let me see how
Oh,
to
that's
do
okay. No,
that.
that's all right. You were the first person that showed up on my screen. I'm just
Oh,
reconnecting
okay.
you. That's cool. So all right, let's continue. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths,
Okay.
and just relax. Breathe in through the nose and out through the top of the head. When you take a few breaths, 3 or 4 breaths, and if you're consciously thinking up, allowing your release to be up through the top of the head, you should start to feel a little stream of energy, a little stream of frequency from the center of your crown. If you focus on it with full intention, which is in part sometimes when I was practicing meditation many years ago, how I used to actually practice staying focused was to be able to focus on that little energetic point. I have participated and tried many forms of meditation, some of them with great effect and some with seemingly none, and you will have to experiment for yourselves with your own kind of meditative practices to see what works for you. But in the course, there's 2 or 3 different meditative practices there, and the last one, the more mantra style one, I found quite effective for me. But I don't meditate anymore. The mind is automatically, like Jesus says in the course, communication is natural. My mind opens naturally now, but you do have to put in the practice work. And I know from some of the messages you guys send me that you're all very much into the theoretical text, but the being still part is something that some of you guys struggle with. Right? You find it hard to simply sit still and focus on the here and the now. Right? And the here and the now isn't a conscious state of present awareness like people think it is, like it's not relative to, I mean, it is, but you want to take it further than conscious association. You want to take it into silence. So the here and the now as a concept is a jumping off point in meditation into a place of total silence. We say God is, and then we cease to speak. Right? Now, that's obviously not ceasing to speak of the lips and the tongue. It's mental chatter. Okay, we cease the mental chatter. And you sit in perfect silence like a Zen monk and you wait. Okay. It does take practice. So if you're not practicing, you're not going to get any result. Right? And you may practice for months or weeks or years, in fact. But it depends entirely upon how determined you are and how much perseverance you have and how important it is to you. Because your understanding of your true purpose is what it is that is going to bring this to you as being something that is more valuable than everything else that you think is going on for you in your life. And it's not that everything else that's going on for you in your life isn't valuable, because everything else is a relationship, and relationships are entirely useful if you know how to navigate them. If you don't know how to navigate them, they're just like eye candy and brain candy. You don't know why you're in them or what they're really for or what they're showing you. You end up walking around saying, oh, I know this is teaching me something, but you don't ever actually find out what it's teaching you. So breathing, that's good, Francine. Take a breath and relax. Right? Relax the mind, relax the body. And just breathe for a few minutes. In through the nose, out through the top of the head. In and out. And try to hold your focus, right? This is all about practice. Eventually what happens is, because the practice is attributed to mind training, what happens is eventually, and the top of my head's going crazy, what happens is your mind begins to catch on to what you're trying to do. It's like training a puppy. Eventually the puppy learns to sit and to stay and to come when it's called and all of those sorts of things. Well, your mind is like that. It's a bit like a computer or a puppy or something. You have to train it with the correct programs to get it to do what you want it to do. When you're born into the world, let's say, not that you're ever actually truly born into the world, but when you enter into this experience, the human experience, you're not trained. You're trained very badly, actually. You're not trained in any kind of way where you're able to serve your own best interests. You're trained in a way where your functioning becomes a little more than choosing between this or that. And you decide whether this or that are fact or fiction, and whether this or that has value to you. Right? Now we're giving God full value without having to know what that is. The memory exists in your mind of your creative source, of your Father. But for now, we're just going to come to this kind of admission. Well, I don't remember. If you do remember, bravo. But if you don't remember, we're going to sit here and we're going to say, all right, I'm going to hold my mind in stillness. And I'm going to train myself to stay in that stillness so that that memory can be restored to me in a place in my mind where I don't fill up the gap with conscious chatter. Okay? And your mind will do that automatically. But you have to train it. An untrained mind accomplishes nothing. A half-trained mind accomplishes nothing. You can't climb to the top of a mountain and be satisfied with going halfway up. Okay? You have to do the whole thing. Breathe in through the nose, out through the top of the head. As witness to my own transformation, the nature of communication has become very, very simple for me now. It has become natural, as Jesus says in the Course. Everything that he says in the Course, almost everything that he says in the Course, has come true as if it's prophesied, but has come true for me in the particulars of its relativity to me in the transformative stages of my mind training. The things that he says that will happen and that you should notice and you should become aware of, I have become aware of, have noticed, etc. Okay. Now, in part, that's because in my mind I gave God full value from the get-go, because I didn't want to be in the world. I was suicidal. I did try and I ended up in hospital, etc., etc. But I'm not telling you that that's where you have to be in your own mind. Right? In order to give something full value, you just have to see it reasonably. You just have to see what not giving it full value brings you. Okay, which is the only alternative to giving God full value is pain, suffering, and death. Now, I often meet a lot of people that will tell me, you know, when Jesus says, give up the world and follow me, they like that idea, but they want to keep the parts of the world that they like. They want to keep the good parts. I like sex. I like holidays. I like money. I like all the things that I value in the world that I think bring me the yin of my experience, but I don't want the yang of my experience, or is it the other way around? I can't remember which one's which, but the yin and the yang both have to go. All right. Salvation is a giving up of the world in its entirety, not in the physical essence of it, obviously, because you can't just sort of like whoop, grow wings and off you go, but in the meaning that you've given it, so that the true meaning of the world can be written upon the place where you let go of the meaning that you've given it arbitrarily, so that you can understand why you're here and what here is and what it's actually for, being the forum for the journey of your soul. Okay, the world is a place where all things come to die. Within that, you realize how ridiculous it is. Right? What's the point of everything I do in the world if I just die at the end of it? Doesn't matter how much money and my kids the same. And their inheritance, what's the point of an inheritance if they're just going to die and their kids die? Right? It goes on and on and on. May as well just die now and get it over with. Right? That's where the ego goes with things. But that makes no sense. Right? So you come to this kind of no man's land where if you're honest, you don't really know what to do. Well, what are my options? Right? And then you discover salvation. It's like, all right, well, there's this guy called Jesus, and he's saying that the world is not my home. And that where he goes, I also shall go. But I have to do what he tells me to do. I have to follow the instructions that he's left and apply those to my thinking. Breathe, Deb. Apply those to my thinking so that I can begin to bear witness to the things that he tells me will be the indicators of my own process, of my own soul journey. Now, that's going to be through forgiveness. That's going to be through patience, tolerance, and all of those principles when I have learned fully and overlearned the parameters of those things and how they're applied. I'll begin to be able to see them as applied in my relationships to bring about the results that he's telling me I'll get. Does that make sense? But you have to apply them. There is no point going through the whole day and not applying any of those principles. There is no point to having them buzzing around in your head like a bunch of buzzy bees and not letting them sting you. Right? You have to recognize, this is why one of the things I'm so adamant about we're going to read in a minute, but one of the things that I'm so adamant about in the reading is connecting with the material. You have to activate yourself. You have to really put yourself there, not just read it. You have to hear it. Right? And it's the same thing with the application. Okay, some of you guys are getting good at this, but because we always have new guys coming along, it's like it's good to just cover over the basics. But you have to connect with the material. I always use the reference because it's relatable, I think. But I always use the reference of when you're at an airport or a bus, or a train station or whatever, and you buy a magazine because you're waiting for the plane or whatever, and you're reading through it, but you're not really reading through it. What you're actually doing, the primary focus or the primary purpose that you're giving reading is actually wasting time until the train arrives or the airplane arrives. It's something to fill in the gap. Okay. Spiritual mind training is teaching you to not fill in the gap, to feel how empty and devoid and open that gap is, and allow the emotionality of that void, if you I don't know what to call it, a void, we'll just call it a gap, and allow the emotionality of that. If you didn't have a magazine, let's say, you'd sit there and your mind would constantly be looking for distraction until the train arrived. Right? With a magazine, you can focus that distraction into reading a story or something, but then when you put it down, you don't even really know what you've read. Right? And it's the same with the course. Initially, because the mind is untrained, you read a page or something and then you put it down and you don't really remember the whole thing you read. You just know that it was sort of spiritual and it was either hard to read or easy to read, or something along those lines. And so you have to connect more and more deeply. You have to be more focused with the material that you're reading, even if you only read one line. If you read one line and you let it in truly, it will affect you. And you need to let it affect you. Okay? If Jesus showed up at your front door and started, teaching the Sermon on the Mount, that would affect you. It would be a shock. It would be like you wouldn't be able to comprehend the nature of reality. You wouldn't understand what was happening. There's this sandal-clad person at the front door speaking to you in Aramaic, right? It would be a shock to your mind. You would reel. Your mind would reel in a way where it was trying to make sense of what you were looking at and what you were hearing, right? That's how the course should be to you. But you need to recognize that the course is that to you, because it's not the conscious mind that is digesting the narrative of A Course in Miracles. It is your higher mind which is being awakened by it. It is literally food for your soul, and the ego is going to try and corrupt it. The ego is going to make it difficult for you to read, going to make it difficult for you to interpret, all that sort of stuff, because it doesn't know what to do with it. The Course is talking about celestial matters. It's talking about non-temporal matters. And the domain of ego is the temporal. And that's all it knows, and that's as far as it can go. And the last identity that you will go through here, the last phase of your identity process that you'll go through here, is the spiritual one. Beyond that, ego cannot go. Okay. So you are, in essence, climbing a kind of an emotional mountain or an unemotional mountain. You're bringing your mind to a place of perfect stillness where there is no up or down, no right or wrong, perfect peace, which is the opposite of what the world offers you. The world offers you always distractions. The world stage is always, it's like a revolving door. This week we're going to have war in some country. Next week we're going to have some political unrest. The week after that we're going to have whatever it is. And it puts on different clothes and comes back time and time and time again, and you think it's different. But it's the same thing. The world only has one trick: to reassociate itself, to redisguise itself and represent itself again and again and again, to keep your attraction to it, to keep you stuck in the mire. Hey, Alice. You know, and you have to learn that. You have to look at the world and you have to realize what it's for. It's a place where all things come to die. And no matter how beautiful you think it is, how wonderful it is, how great it is, it's still just lipstick on a skeleton. And the third obstacle to peace in the course is the fear of death. And we're going to look at that today. We've looked at the desire to get rid of peace, which is the first one. We've looked at the belief that the body's valuable for what it can offer, which is the second one. So today we're going to look at the fear of death, right? Which Anna will like. Is she here? Where is she? Oh, yep. All right. So that's the one that's coming up for you, isn't it? No? Oh, all right. Well, that's what I got. Maybe it will after today. All right. So breathing, learning to be still, and staying focused on your purpose, focused on the whole reason you're doing this in the first place, the whole reason you're participating in this mind training process in the first place, right? The goal of the course is inner peace. The purpose of the course is salvation. You have to learn to be at peace in order to begin to access automatically the holy instant, which is your natural form of communication. Okay, that's about as far as you can go. I mean, revelation and everything else like that, it's up to Jesus. But you learn to become miracle minded, to bring your mind to peace so that you can become revelation ready. If you're still running away from things, if you're still resisting temptation and still resisting evil and all of that sort of stuff, and trying to fill in the gap, then what's going to happen when revelation dawns is you're either going to recoil from it or you're going to try and turn it into something you think you can understand. Okay. And that's going to be the part of your mind, that ego part of your mind that is still untrained. And that's fine. That can happen. And that happened to me, right? It's no biggie. The biggie is that you need to recognize that you're going to need help. Okay, if I didn't have all the brothers in Byron Bay and everybody continually telling me to pull my head in and helping me to pull my head in, I'd be just wandering the streets in a loincloth right now, probably smoking weed and just singing songs, and I wouldn't be able to help anybody. That's kind of where I was at before enlightenment anyway, but afterwards it was much the same thing. And those of you who know that story know that Annie was my savior in that moment and got me to the healing center. So, but revelation is intensely powerful and intensely personal, and it is much like Jesus turning up at your front door. It's as different from the world as if you were to wake up tomorrow morning on the moon without any knowledge of how you got there, how to get back, any kind of thing. It's a total shift in the mind. It's a total different thing. It's nothing to do with anything you think that you can think. All right. It's not of this world. And you have to prepare yourself. You have to become revelation ready. You have to become miracle minded, right? Which is learning to leave that gap. So when Jesus says, all right, this one's ready for revelation, the revelation can be embodied by you, can be held by you for enough period of time that you're not going to blow it on going out and getting high or having a good time because you suddenly feel so incredibly good about everything. But you're actually going to integrate it into your thought system and allow it to go where it needs to go and do what it needs to do so that you can become more natural, more human in a certain way. right? More integrated with the universal curriculum. All of this is about mind training. Whilst you find yourself with feet on the earth, there is still lessons to learn, still training to be had, which is why I'm reading the Silmarillion. I just felt that I needed a challenge, a mental challenge, and it's kind of that. So breathing. Now we're going to do the first, probably, how many of us are there here today? There's a few. We'll just read the 20-minute book. Right, okay. Sada, Susan, Trisha, Angela, have you got a camera, darling? We need all cameras on. Full attendance, please.
Don't know.
Irek in the UK. Where are you, brother? In the pub? Looks like you got a comfortable chair there.
Yeah, it's a sofa.
Oh, I've lost you. Hang on. Where'd you go? In the UK. What time is it in the UK?
11 p.m.
11 p.m. All right. You're very keen. And you got another brother there with you.
Yes, Cuba.
All right. Well, welcome.
Hello,
So
darling.
open the
That's Angela
sound.
trying to say something to you. Angela is trying
Where's
to say
that?
something to you.
Sorry, I've got to scroll up and down to find everybody, and something's Dark Soul Knighted. Hello, Dark Soul Knighted.
Angela doesn't have her camera on. She's speaking to you.
All right. Well,
Have I got my camera on now?
Angela, yep.
No.
Put your camera on there.
I'm trying. It won't go on.
Oop. Thank you. Just been delivered coffee. How blessed.
Angela, just push on the bottom left of the screen. You'll see somewhere start video. Stop video or start video. If you push that, that'll get you on.
Okay. Thanks.
No worries.
Okay, so I want to
Okay, I
start
think I
with the new
figured out
guys today. I want to start with the new guys. Some of you guys that have been here for a while, you sort of know the deal. So we've got Trisha and Angela. Angela, if you can't work your camera, you can just read anyway. Open to the reviews of the first 50 lessons, which is lesson 51. If you've got your course book there, if you've got the little book, you can use the little book. And we're just going to go through some very basic mind training. Now, the reviews of the first 50 lessons of the course are the entire thought system of the course in a nutshell. Okay, this is something that I read every day for 6 years, every morning for 6 years in a group setting, right at the healing center. I would get out of bed and do my thing and then go straight to the healing center and read the reviews of the first 50. One of the things you'll discover when you understand how important your mind training is in getting you through the day without allowing the world to tell you who you are is that it needs to be practiced regularly. Just to read it and tell yourself you've read it. You know, I've met people who tell me they've read the course and, I've done that course, they say, and I say, how did you like the workbook lessons? And they'll be like, workbook lessons? What workbook lessons? You know, like, so when I talk about reading the course and when some of you guys talk about reading the course, it tends to be sometimes a very different thing. So I want to make sure, because I'm responsible for this Zoom meeting, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with this so that everybody gets some kind of benefit out of it. Okay. So lesson number 1, where's my friend iPhone? Do you have a book?
Which page are we on, Dave?
It depends on the book you're reading, but it's in the workbook lessons.
I got the blue book as well. Mine's page 82.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't have the physical book, but I don't know if I can like do online and also be on the Zoom call.
Oh, you're on online. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get the physical book prior to the Zoom meeting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll organise you one if you need one.
What's your name? Who are
Yes,
who are you?
so I
Hey,
emailed you. So in my email, it's Kisioli, like my
I got you.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my first name is Marquise. So I kind of
Hey,
like,
Mark. Ah,
yeah.
you're tricking me. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Right on.
Yeah, I just like it's just my YouTube name. So like it combines like my first and last name together, but my first name is
Cool.
Marquise. Yeah.
I'll get your PDF. I'll get your PDF.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. So you can just listen for today then.
Perfect.
All right. All right, Tina, you want to start? Nothing I see means anything. So how we do this for you new guys is Alice, you could do this. You could just teach this stuff. But we just go around in a circle. We'll just go around. Everyone gets to read a lesson. Okay. And in the reading, prior to reading it, I mean, we can just do it all together. Prior to reading it, you sort of ask the Holy Spirit to help you connect with what you're reading, to help it get in. You know, in the Bible, Jesus says you have ears to hear and eyes to see, but you don't hear and you don't see, right? He means that, okay, because you're attempting to digest spiritual language with the temporal mind, okay? And it's a reversal of what you've taught yourself. Okay, the course is an undoing. The beginning of the course, the first 50 is part of the whole thing really, but the first half of the workbook is undoing the way you see things, and the second half of the workbook is giving you a new way to see yourself, which is not really a new way. It's just reminding you how it is that, you know, that you should see yourself because it's more the truth. Okay. So Tina, can you do lesson 1 and focus? We're focusing on the words. Okay. Now there's a lot of people will tell you that, and even towards the end of the workbook, you know, we're coming close to the time of the end of words, right? There's a lot of people that will tell you quite flippantly, oh, well, any spiritual discipline that uses so many words can't be real or can't be true. Or can't. It's like, I'm just going to leave that up to Jesus. I know it's a wordy text. It's a wordy volume. It's a wordy scripture. There's a lot in it. And he says it has to be overlearned to be learned. But the reason that it's given in so many words is because words is the language we've taught ourselves. Symbols of symbols. Okay? It wouldn't make sense and it wouldn't be helpful to try and offer you something without the use of words. Even though your natural form of communication is wordless, for now, temporarily, we're going to use those same kinds of words to deconstruct what you've taught yourself and remind you of what it is that is the truth about you. Okay. And you have to focus on it because it's like, this is the most important thing in your life. If you think that there is something else more important, you should be about doing that and not be here in this Zoom. Okay. This is a journey of the soul, and you guys are teachers of God, and somewhere that needs to register, or you wouldn't be in this Zoom. It doesn't matter how you got here, what excuse you tell yourself you're here for. There are no mistakes. I'm a teacher of teachers, and that's all there is to it. Okay. Lesson number 1, please, Tina.
Okay. Oh, God. Oh, God. Mm. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Good.
Oh, God. Oh. Oh. Mm. Oh. Mm. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. Ah. Nothing I see. Nothing I see.
Right. You just heard that.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh, oh, nothing I see. Oh, means anything. The reason this is so the reason this is so is that I see nothing. Oh, and nothing has no meaning. It is necessary that I recognize this. That I may learn to see. What I think I see now is taking the place of vision. I must let it go. By realizing that it has no meaning. So that vision may take its place.
Good. Dark Soul. Can you do the next one, please? I like some of you guys' screen names. And then Irek.
So we got the white book and the blue book, and we cannot find it. I'm not too sure if you could direct us.
Can't hear you. So.
Yeah, we have a white book and the blue book, and we can't find. Where do we find
go
it?
Go to the workbook. Open it about halfway, and you'll see the lessons.
It's page 82. And you're in the white book? Are you in the sparkly?
Hold that book up that you've got there.
Sparkly.
Sparkly.
That's the sparkly.
So go to the
okay,
workbook
good.
section. Go to the workbook section.
Go to the workbook section, which is towards the back of the book. You'll see the lessons.
Past all the text.
It starts about halfway in the book. And then go to lesson 50.
Page 82.
I think you're still in the front of the book.
Are you in the text? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're in the text?
Is it lesson 50?
It's
lesson
the
50,
next one, 51.
And the next one, lesson 51, you'll see the reviews.
Review 51, yes.
Okay, so the second review.
I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me.
Good.
I have judged everything I look upon, and it is this and only this that I see. This is not vision. It is merely an illusion of reality, because my judgment have been made quite apart from reality. I am willing now recognize the lack of validity in my judgments, because I want to see. My judgments have hurt me, and I do not want to see according to them.
Good. I've got a phone call coming in again. Hang on. If I disappear for a second, I'll be back. Dark Knight. Where is she? Let me go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you. Can you do the third one?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
I do not understand anything I see. How could I understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go, to make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before?
Okay, now I'm going to get you to read that again. All right, but first we're going to do some breathing together. Okay, I want you to close your eyes for a second. Ask within yourself for the Holy Spirit to even help you read the words on the page. You can call it nervous energy or you can call it whatever you want. But this course is parallel to your natural language as a spirit, as mind, as a being of light. And it should flow from you as such. And there is no point in not throwing you into the deep end because you already know how to swim. You're just remembering that you already know how to swim. Okay, so take a few breaths and really connect with the words. And I want you to read it to yourself. Forget about the Zoom meeting, forget about everybody else. Read it out aloud as if you're rehearsing lines for a play or as if you're rehearsing a speech or something like that. Read it to yourself and consciously tell yourself before you start reading, I'm reading this to me. I need to hear what this says. Okay. And when you feel ready, read it again. Forget about me, forget about everybody else here.
I do not
Yes.
understand anything I see. How could I
Better.
understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go, to make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is this not a better choice than the one I made before?
How did that feel?
Much better.
You feel like it went in a bit deeper and you heard it and it was more smooth?
I do. The breath
Good.
helps.
Yeah. How's your mind generally with chatter? Very busy?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's actually a good thing, because the contrast between seeing how busy your mind is and the moments that you're going to have through this course of seeing what's possible for you are going to be more obvious. Okay? It's actually a good thing to be aware how chaotic your thoughts are, how, like, without feeling the need to react to them, right? Because suicide is the ultimate reaction, and we don't need to go down that path. We've got an alternative now. Okay. When my mind was probably weeks prior to my illumination, it was on 10 out of 10 for noise and chaos and just vile, horrible thinking. It was awful. I couldn't walk down the street without judging everyone and everything. And I didn't know where all those thoughts were coming from. And it didn't make sense to me why my mind was going that way, because I didn't want it to go that way. I wanted to be loving. I was telling myself that I was supposed to be loving and peaceful and not judge people. But my mind was ramped right up. And it brought me to that point of suicidal again, right? For the second time in my life, it brought me right to that place, which ended up in the dark night of my soul, right? And which was finally the release from it all. But the idea that I had at that time, which gave me alleviation from the concept of suicide, was the concept of love thy enemy, right? Love your enemies, do good for those who hate you. And I heard that. Something in my heart heard that. Not in my head. My head couldn't hear it. But something in my heart wanted it to be true for me more than anything else in the world, and I just didn't know how. But I knew Jesus was telling me that there was a way through forgiveness. All I needed to do was understand it, right? But I knew that understanding was going to be a process, okay? And then 3 days later, the course was presented to me. It's funny how that works. So, all right, Connor, can you do the next one, please?
Sure thing.
Take a breath. Reading it to yourself. Total focus. This is the most important document you've ever read in your life, and the first time you've ever read it.
I do not understand anything I see.
No. Close your eyes. Put the book down for a second. I want you to go deeper with it. Make it personal. Really connect with it. When Jesus is telling you that you don't understand anything you see, that's not just something you read on a page and go on to the next thing that you're going to read. That should hit you like a brick. That should come at you like a steam train. What the hell do you mean I do not understand anything I see? There should be this whole mind, total attention. And when you hear this, other minds in this room are going to hear you hear it. Okay, because we are all one. Now, this leans and bodes more towards feeling it rather than hearing it, right? When I say hearing, you hear through feeling. You're connecting, right? It's heart and mind together. And there's no point. It's like what I said to Dark Soul. There's no point in putting you in the shallow end. Let's do this from the get-go and get used to it from the get-go, even if it's like seems to be a bit deep water. Let's just do it, because time is always against us, and I don't
Thank
have
you.
time to diddle around, okay? And neither do you. Let's have it.
I do not understand anything I see.
Good.
How could I understand what I see when I've judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There's no sense in trying to understand it. There's every reason to let it go and make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before?
Good. You heard that, didn't you?
More than usual.
Right, exactly.
I've been reading this every day and I think I'm reading it, but you can just see that it's not hitting the way it should.
Right. That just did. That just hit the way it should. Okay. I heard you read that. Okay. And other guys in this room heard you read it then. Okay. Where's Colin? Is he here today? There he is. Colin, you do the next one, please, bro.
Yeah.
Same deal, heart and mind. Take a breath. You have light all around you, Colin. That's beautiful. Good.
These thoughts do not mean anything.
Good.
The thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, because I'm trying to think without God. What I call my thoughts are not my real thoughts. My real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. I am not aware of them because I have made my thoughts to take their place. I am willing to recognize that my thoughts do not mean anything and to let them go. I choose to have them be replaced by what they were intended to replace. My thoughts are meaningless, but all creation lies in the thoughts I think with God.
That's good. Just for a second, Colin, I want you to picture old Colin, Colin that first started coming to these Zoom meetings. Can you remember old Colin?
Yeah.
There's quite a difference now, isn't there? Your energy has shifted. There's a calmness and a lack of the impatience that you once had. There's a greater depth of patience, a greater depth of certainty. Try and see that in yourself. I can see it in you. And that's directly attributable to your mind training, directly attributable to these lessons. That's what it is that brings about the changes in the nature of your relationships, your signature, your frequency. And from this point on, you're going to start to notice it more and more. Okay, it's like an old door has closed and a new one has opened. And I just saw that in you before. Call it a shift if you like, or a gradual change or whatever, it doesn't matter. But things is changing in you. And I like that. Change is good. Carolyn, can you do the next one, please?
Sure.
And then Matthew.
I am never upset for the reason I think.
No, terrible. Boo. Boo. Seinfeld, boo. Put the book down.
Okay.
That's like telly shopping. Have a look at these lovely things here, and they also come in the large size. All right, let's find some heart space with this. Close your eyes for a second. This has to be important to you. Okay? It has to be important. The most important and the only important thing. When Colin first came to this, and I'm just going to use him as an example because it's an extreme example, I gave Colin an assignment to go ice swimming every day for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And you know what he said to me? Yes. He just gave me a total yes, and he did it, right? I didn't give him the assignment so that he could master swimming in cold water. I gave him the assignment so he could see his resistance to that yes, to the actual yes. So that he wasn't just saying yes to please me or because he thought he had to. So it had a practical value. Okay. This course has to have the same practical value to you. The reading of this one lesson. Okay. It's the same thing. Okay. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and I want you to feel who you are. Connect with who you are. I'm not interested in the parts of yourself about you that you think you like. Okay, those parts don't need much work. It's the other parts, the dark parts. I want you to go there for a second. And this is just for you. Everybody else don't do this. I want you to look at those parts. And for a second, realize how distasteful they are. Okay?
I'm laughing because the dog's name's Bhagwan. And Bhagwan just started barking crazily.
Right, focus. Ignore Bhagwan. Of course your dog's name is Bhagwan. All right, focus. We're looking at the idea of healing. We're looking at the idea of including in all of these things and offering them all to the light for healing, for release. There is a part of you that is murderous. It's a false part, but it's there nonetheless. Murderous, judgmental, dark, ugly. And you try to keep it covered. With dogs called Bhagwan and other things. I want you to push through all that push through all that veil of illusion of who you think you are and see the truth of the illusion of yourself that you're trying to avoid. When Jesus says, resist not evil, that's what he means. Don't resist looking at the parts of yourself that are detestable to you. You have to include everything in, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, whatever the opposites, the polar opposites that you think you experience and have as a maintenance tool for your identity, one thing played off against the other. We're including it all in. I am an arsehole. I am a murderer. I'm the sinner and the saint. I'm all of it. I'm one with all things, not just the parts of myself that I try to manufacture and present as my front face for the world. Okay? And when you can find one of those things, when you can find one of those aspects, I want you to read from that place. And you can just sit there for a second. I want you to just sit there for a second. Natasha, can you read the next one for a second? Just give Carolyn a few moments to... Good. Woohoo!
I am upset because I see what is not there. Reality is never frightening. It is impossible that it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I am upset, it is always because I have replaced reality with illusions which I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality, and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I am always upset by nothing.
Good. Chitra, Carol, I'm just going to give you another moment. Chitra, can you read the next one?
Sure.
You're getting there. I can see the thermometer of Carolyn going down. It's good.
Hot.
Right, exactly.
Nothing I see means anything.
No. It's number 6, I think, in the reviews.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm upset because I see what is not there.
Oh, is that the one you just
Reality.
did, Natasha? All right, so the
Yes.
next one, Chitra.
Next one. Yep, okay.
Yep. Take a breath. Good.
I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past and therefore no enemies. And I will look with God on all that I failed to see before.
Good. That's what it's like. Right? That's spirituality in practice. That's spirituality applied. It affects you. It gets in. There is a moment of self-reflection that this thought system is completely different to the way I see the world. It's offering me both something that I'm telling myself I want and that is actually natural to me, and a reversed or backward view, because I'm leaving it behind, of how it is that I used to see myself. Okay. I'm breaking all my tethers with the world. I'm breaking all my chains, cutting all my ropes. And for a moment, it brings up all that emotionality. All that emotionality, eventually you'll get the hang of it. It'll be used for prayer. Chitra. Father, heal my mind of this. You can see where you're at. The Course keeps track with you. Salvation keeps track with you, right? You can see that you're reacting to Jesus's very reasonable narrative of the Course. It's bringing stuff up, which is grist for the mill. Don't stop at the reading of the Course. Make that connection. When you realize that you are connecting with the material, when you realize that it is affecting you, use it. Use the energy of all that emotional upwelling and all of that stuff for prayer. Don't waste your pain, my teacher used to say. Okay, don't waste your pain. It's very valuable. Use it. We spend our lifetimes trying to avoid it and get away from it. We push it down, we cover it up, and we call it something else. We take pain medication. We go to psychologists who try to tell us that we're okay. We're not okay. We're all fucked up. We're in a place where everything dies. How am I supposed to feel about that? I hate it. I fucking hate it. Right? In the Bible, Jesus says, if you do not hate the world, you cannot follow me. You have to see what the world is. You have to see where all roads lead. Not to get depressed, but to realize, all right, well, if that's where all the roads of the world lead, I'm going to follow Jesus's road. I'm going to follow the road he tells me about, because I see that I don't really have an alternative. It's the story of the prodigal son. I'm walking away from the light, away from the light, away from the light. I get to as far away from the light as I can go because God has set a limit on suffering. I realize there's nothing here. I'll go back to the light, right? Which is where your creative source is waiting for you with open arms. And I promise you that. God itself has no arms, actually, but there are divine agencies of light that are waiting for you. Okay? All those you love, if you like to use a kind of an analogy, all of those that you love that are real are standing around your hospital bed waiting for you to snap out of this coma. And that's a pretty good analogy. It's not actually accurate, but it's pretty good. Okay. All right, Carolyn, let's have it.
Okay.
Since we don't want to have to send you running down the street naked and shouting Yahoo, Eureka, we're just going to do.
Was it number 5, or I'm a bit lost where we are?
You can read the next one. I think we're up to number 8.
Mine doesn't go. Mine only has 5 in the part 1 review one, and I had the first 5. That's it, and then it goes to lesson 52.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the lesson. That's the lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, so am I going to lesson 52, number 1?
Number 8. What does it say, number 1? It says you're going to lesson 52, number 8. What are you in, the FIP?
Yeah, so is it my mind is preoccupied?
That's
right
the one.
On.
Oh, good, thanks. Okay.
Take a breath.
My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts.
Good.
I see only my own thoughts, and my mind is preoccupied with the past. What then can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I'm trying to use time against God.
Okay, stop. I want you to read that sentence again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I want you to feel that sentence. Right? Because the release from the suffering that you're experiencing and everything that you're going through is in that sentence.
Yeah, I did feel it a little bit. A little bit, yeah.
All right. So just focus for a second. I want you to read it again. Just that one line. Don't read it to me. Don't read it to the Zoom. Read it to yourself like your life depends on it.
Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God.
And again.
Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God.
Once more.
Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God.
Are you feeling it?
A little bit. I felt it probably more the first time I read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me learn to give the past away, realizing that in so doing, I am giving up nothing.
Do the next one.
I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see.
Good. Francine? One of the things that happens is when you've been, and I'm just going to assume here and guess and make ridiculous commentary, but when you've been involved in a lot of spiritual inquiry for a while, your ego gets very comfortable with it. It becomes almost like a second skin, which is the opposite of what it should be. If you're truly practicing the discipline of your spiritual determination, it should be almost like a constant irritation. There should be this sense of this constant calling, this constant attraction to something more, never allowing you to get comfortable. one of the things that I find, and it wasn't really this way with me because I was addicted to drugs and alcohol as a way to try and stave off the emptiness that I constantly felt in my life since I was a very little boy. But one of the things that occurs is there is this intrinsic knowing, whether you're aware of it or not, that there is something fundamentally wrong with the world. Everybody has it. Why is the world like this? Why don't people just love each other? What the hell is wrong with this picture? Surely everybody's not an idiot, right? Inventing bigger bombs and more powerful weapons. Right? That intrinsic knowing is something that the ego is hell-bent to cover up. It doesn't want you to put your focus and your attention on it, because that is actually the call for God. It's a splinter in the mind's eye that it's like a constant irritation. It's like reminding you that there's something not right here. What is the point of life if I just die at the end of it? What is the point of all of this? More possessions, more popularity, more everything. For what reason? And the ego tries to cover that up and destroy that sense of inner inquiry. And usually by the time you're about mid-teens, it's gone. And you're sort of channeled into the ways of the world, etc., etc. But it never quite leaves you. And by the time you're old enough to drink alcohol, usually if you're one of the people that has a greater affinity with truth, or you've been here for plenty of lifetimes and it's starting to annoy the hell out of you and you don't know why, you'll be more resistant to letting go of that inner inquiry, and it will drive you to drugs and alcohol as a way to cope with it. Your ego will have more trouble trying to cover it up and put you into compliance with the ways of the world. You'll become the black sheep of your family, and you'll find that you probably gravitate towards more fringe elements of society, things like that. Or if you are in society, you'll probably feel like you don't really fit there. This whole thing, this whole mind training and everything else should begin, if you're applying it properly, should begin to bring to your attention that sense of that calling, right? God goes with me wherever I go. The presence of God, therefore, is my constant companion if I am aware of it, and if I allow that to be my abiding state, my abiding awareness. And you'll begin to feel in your relationships that frequency. You'll begin to feel, you'll start to work with it rather than have it be an irritation, but you'll begin to notice it as a kind of subtle undercurrent or a subtle undertone or a subtle frequency in your relationships, wherein all of a sudden you'll be somewhere, let's say, and you'll have a moment of remembering, hang on, why am I really here? Right? And then I'm here to represent God. I'm here for the healing of my mind. What am I doing in this relationship? Otherwise, what happens, the ego covers up your true purpose, and you find that you just go through the normal day and you have the normal conversations and the normal everything. And it doesn't really come to priority in you that there was another whole reason that you were involved in all of that to begin with. Right? So I want this to be an irritation to you, and you should want it as well. It should stir you. It should begin to get under your skin and activate you. Okay? That's a good thing. When you start to get emotional, that's a good thing. When you start to feel something stirring within you, I feel the stirring of God's strength in me is one of the lessons, 49 or 48 or something. Like, that's good. I want you to feel it. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts. Yet, It is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing.
Good.
Yet, my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe that to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts?
Good. You felt that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good.
I feel a lot of them.
Good.
Thank you, Dave.
Don't thank me. All thanks to God. All thanks be to
Thank
God.
you,
I'm
God.
nothing.
Thank you, God. Thank you.
I'm just a signboard on the King's Highway pointing up. Tricia, can you do the next one, please? Good.
My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing.
Good. Glad?
Are we on 12? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Pick one. Pick one. Let's just go with whatever.
Okay. Just give me a second.
All these people that want a second. You know how long a second is in timelessness? It's now.
I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking. And chaos has no laws.
Is that true for you, Vlad? Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, to some extent.
Okay. I want it to resonate with you to total extent, not some extent. And that may not occur in this Zoom meeting. It may not occur for a little while. But the idea of some extent is like sitting on the fence, okay? I want you to realize this fully. The world that you think you see around you is a direct symbolic representation of your own state of mind. And it's necessary that you understand that to its full extent. Otherwise, you'll be looking for wriggle room. You'll think this part is not so bad. That part's not so bad. Okay? One of the really important things that Jesus emphasizes in the Course, and I think we did it in our last Zoom, is how much everything in the world is all the same. This nice place versus that bad place. This nice person versus that bad person. All of these sorts of things, the opposites and the duality of life. Okay? It's actually all the same. It's all symbolic of one idea. Okay? Keep reading.
I cannot live in a peace. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning.
Good. Do the next one. And then Alice.
A meaningless world engenders fear.
Okay, stop. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, close your eyes and repeat that to yourself a few times before reading. A meaningless world engenders fear. I want you to feel where that resonates in you and read from that place. Read from that knowing place, because somewhere you do know this. It does all resonate with you. It is your natural language. That is the flip side of the frequency that this is. It's almost like you have to push. You have to push into it. You have to force yourself to really connect and to feel it. And when you do feel it, to stay in that feeling with it. Because as soon as you start to feel this, your ego is going to be like, why are you doing that? It's the master of covering things up. It'll want to offer you a less intense version of this confrontation with your own thinking, right? And your purpose is to not allow that to happen, let's say, right? You want to get as much out of this as you can. Otherwise, what's the point, right? I want to put my whole self in. There's nowhere else in the world that offers you anything, right, other than the Course. There are other spiritual disciplines, obviously, but this is the one that you have in your hands. When you walk out of your front door and go to your job and talk to people and whatever, you don't take it with you, which is why it's a training process. And you're training yourself to learn how to take this with you by giving it full value in order to do so. And your ego is going to try to want to reduce the value of it to you. Right? When you understand that you're walking with the holiest of the holies and that he's holding out his hand to you and you are actually being offered salvation, like the big picture, when that begins to really dawn on you what the big picture really is, then this will have total value. Until then, we need to support each other. We walk together, mighty companions on a road to understanding through this process of continually reminding ourselves of what it is that we're here to be about, because the ego is going to always try to corrupt that. Okay. When Jesus sent his disciples out, he would send them out and meet them in other places. The reason that he would send them out and not go with them is because when he sent them out, they would have to stand on their own 2 feet and see how pertinent for themselves this teachings is to them and how competent they are with it and how much efficacy that they have with the material. right, with the teachings, with the practice of the teachings. And then they would come back to him and they would sit around the campfires at night and say, well, you know, I fucked up over there, Jesus. You sent me out to wherever it was. And, you know, and Jesus, you know, like I couldn't cast out the demons. I couldn't, what was it Tina was saying the other day? I couldn't cast out the demons or heal the leper. And Jesus says, oh, you need to pray and to fast to do those ones, you know, and leave them to me, right? Leave those sort of things to me, right? But they got to see for themselves their own capacity as healers. If Jesus was with them all the time, he would be the guy. They'd be always stepping back and letting Jesus do it, right? This is the same with you guys. We have these Zoom meetings and we come together and we support each other and we read, and like I give you as much of my own heart and mind as I can in this. And then it's up to you guys when you go out into your world and apply this in your relationships to see where you're at with it. And I expect you to fall apart. I fell apart over and over and over. I fell apart all the time. I got it wrong. I made mistakes, everything, and probably still today, right? If Jesus was sitting here beside me, he'd probably be like, but it doesn't matter. He's telling us we're perfect, all right? But we're not perfect yet. Our job is to become perfect. Our job is to realign with the truth of ourselves. Okay? Alice, can you read the next one, please? But don't dawdle.
God did not create a meaningless world.
Are we there? Ooh. Oh, we're there.
This is one of my favorite lessons.
Mine too.
So shall I just read it?
Yep.
Okay. The idea for today, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible.
No. We're doing the reviews, Alice.
Oh, no. The reviews. Okay. What number are the reviews?
5314. You have the book.
I've got the sparkly one.
Page 85 in the workbook.
Okay. You see, I read the course a lot.
And you know, the funny thing is how it's all perfect, Alice. Right? It's all perfect. All those years you had with Ted and everything like was preparing you for this moment.
Yeah.
This is where your true learning is.
Yeah, a lot went on when Ted was with us. So, yeah. Still processing the whole thing, but anyway. Still. Yes, it's all led me to this moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where the reviews are.
Where are
page
you?
80.
Where are you? You're in the reviews?
So
You're in the workbook section?
lessons.
You were just at 14, right?
Yeah.
So keep going to the right. And then you'll get to page 85.
Page 85.
You got it? And that should be lesson 53.
Oh, okay.
Right on. And now you got 14.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, okay.
My favorite too.
All right. So God did not create a meaningless world.
All right, take a breath.
How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? He is the source of all meaning. And everything that is real is in his mind. It is in my mind too, because he created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide.
Cool. No time is passing. No time has passed since the last time you read that lesson as an idea of the last time and today. If you look at it in the longevity of however many years, it's like the message is always just in this moment, just in this moment, just fresh. In my mind, however, I have ideas of a past time where I read the lessons with Ted or with other brothers and all these sorts of things and all of this. But the message itself is brand new because it is only relevant and it is only applicable now. The past may produce some useful stories, or those memories may produce some useful stories for the purposes of teaching and learning, but other than for those purposes, those stories themselves are meaningless. You know? And teaching and learning should, by necessity, be recognized as a temporary expedience or a temporary facility to expedite my progress towards a time where I don't need lessons, I don't need teaching and learning, I don't need words. Okay. Matthew, can you read the next one, please? I love the name Matthew. The first full biblical passage I read from the New Testament was the book of Matthew. I think your sound is not working. It's just static. Yeah. All right. We'll go to Iona. We'll come back to Matthew. There seems to be a bit of a technical glitch.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear you?
My thoughts are images which I have made.
Good.
Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts which tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts. And am not allowing my real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Yet God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against him, because it is not my will that they do so. My will is his. And I will place no other gods before him.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deb? Oh, Deb's not there. Deb? Deb, you there? She's there. She's off to. Why are you wearing gloves? You live in the tropics. What's going on?
Oh, good.
Are they dusting mittens? You're dusting while you're.
I haven't got any fingers. They get cold.
Really?
Yeah.
Marquise. Beautiful. All right. Iona, hang on. Deb, you read that one and then we'll hear. Marquise, have you got the. Did you send that Tina or she's not got it yet?
I was able to find it online, so I've been following.
Okay. We'll get you to do the next one after. All right. Let's go for it.
I have no neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They will either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world rise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither true nor false. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are.
Terrible. Let's do that again. Let's take a deep breath. I want you to read it from your heart. You read that like you'd been telling the same story about your life 1,000 times and you've got no energy left for the telling of the story. You're just over it.
It's about it.
Right, good. Right, now you'll feel it.
Yeah.
This moment is the only moment you have. This moment is the moment that you open to love. Love is not tired. Love is not old. Love is brand new and exciting and wonderful and fills you full of this kind of exuberance for itself, for life. And you are on the threshold. This mind training is literally a threshold between temporal association and illuminate beingness, if that's a word. It's like a debrief. You're being deprogrammed. You're being debugged. You're being prepared to return to something that you know perfectly well, to awaken to the true nature of yourself. You'll see how easy it is for the ego to sort of drag you down into mediocrity and mundanity, right? But the Savior is always with you. Jesus and Isaiah are standing right behind you right now. Can you feel a hand on your right shoulder? We'll come back to Deb. She's going to need a minute. Marquise, can you read the next one, please?
Yes, let's see here. Okay. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist, because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as a representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change. And so I also know the world I see can change as well.
Good. That was lovely. That makes perfect sense to you, doesn't it? That's totally just resonates.
Yeah.
Good. This is your last incarnation.
I say that to people all the time.
Right, it is. This is your last one.
Yeah.
So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sada. You have to unmute the microphone.
Okay, I don't know where we are. Oh, wait. Some other things. Were we on? Oh, okay, I found it. Lesson 18, right? I'm not alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take a breath. Good.
Ah.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world.
Good. Go a bit deeper into it.
Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared.
Breathe.
Excuse me.
You don't need to be excused. This is good. Your microphone is off.
Okay.
I'll finally have the day to roll you.
Please leave. Please stop.
Torture you.
Stop.
I need to start again. Of course.
Start again. And let's have you in the camera.
Where did I go? Oh, there we go.
There you are. These are good.
I'm not alone in experiencing. Stop. Stop. That's how I feel. She was tickling me. Stop.
Ticklish
Seriously,
little
please
girl.
stop.
All right, Deb, we'll go to you.
Please.
Sada, you'll continue to manifest distractions for yourself whilst you give this no value. Do you understand? It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter whether it's children, dogs, cats. I know people that manifest illness for themselves rather than go through their transformative process. They'll give themselves cancer rather than do that. Well, everything comes to you because you want it. There's no grey area. Everything occurs to you, in you, and around you because that's what you've chosen. And it takes a moment for you to realize that the determination that which you give this is going to have to be resolute. I remember when I was learning to meditate and I was listening to a video. I can't remember who or what now. It's many, many years ago. And in the video, the teacher was saying, find yourself somewhere to sit where it's comfortable and block out all distractions. Right? This is in the beginning. Ultimately, you should be able to meditate anywhere. But in the beginning, block out all distractions. If the phone rings, ignore it. If a dog barks, ignore it. If somebody knocks at the front door, ignore it. You have to give your discipline total value at the exclusion of everything else. Okay? It has to be more important to you. The idea of being distracted or being interrupted or all of these things, it's good to see that because then you can realize how undisciplined the mind is. Okay? And that is the way it is. And I often have a lot of pushback on those ideas. A lot of people will reject those ideas. I'm not doing this, someone else is doing this. But that's the whole reason for the course. That's the whole premise of salvation. I think someone else is doing something to me rather than I am manifesting my reality. I am dreaming my dream. Okay. All right, Deb, let's have it.
Tina, lesson number?
Uh, 18.
Thank you.
Yes, 18. Yes, you're welcome.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing.
Good.
If I have no private thoughts, I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see.
Good.
Yet that sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, so my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. And the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine.
Good. How did that feel?
Yeah, that was everything.
Good. Malik, can you read the next one, please? It's important to do these lessons. It's important to realize the importance of these lessons. I guarantee that for every one of you, you will walk out your front door and the first thing that catches your eye will distract you from the single purpose that Jesus is encouraging you to adopt, which is representative of God and ambassador of forgiveness, etc. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just particular to mind training, right? Everything is always showing you how important it is, right, to keep these lessons in your heart. In a crowd of unruly people, he's looking to you to be the calm one. He's looking to you to be the one that presents peace. Okay. All right, let's have it.
Are we on 19 or what is it? I am not alone. I'm not alone. Okay.
That'll do.
I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of God cannot think or speak or act in vain. He cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in my power to change every mind along with mine. For mine is the power of God.
Good. In that lesson, you understand how important it is to carry this with you in your heart, because every thought has the power to affect all the universe. Eventually, you will have no thoughts. All that chatter that's in your mind, it will be perfectly silent. But it's you that has to decide how important that is to you. I can only tell you that it's perfectly possible and also inevitable that you will come to a place where you will get through the whole day without mind chatter. And the little mind chatter perhaps that you do have will simply be attributable to the utilities required for the vessel, food, clothes, things like that. Everything else will just fall into place automatically, because there is no will but God's. The mind chatter that you experience is attributable simply to a belief that there is another will apart from God's. I think I'm separate. And that is the manifesting agency of all of that babble. But it's like a kaleidoscope. It's the one set of beads taking a different shape all the time. And it tries to convince you that it's different. This thought is different from that thought. And so there's this hierarchy of thoughts. But it's the same beads in the kaleidoscope. Jesus is telling you, put the kaleidoscope down. You don't need it. It doesn't offer you anything. Okay? Very good. Kevin, you want to do one? And then Susan. Have you done one already, Susan? Did I ask? No? Okay, Kevin and then Susan.
I am determined to see.
Good.
Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of God are one.
Good. Thank you, brother. Can you guys feel that when Kevin reads it? When Kevin reads those words, you can tell that he's beyond the need for words. It's almost as if, Kevin, you're a librarian in the Hall of Records or something. in the Akashic Records. It's like you're so familiar with those words there imbued in you that you don't even need the book, I know. Thank you. All right. Who was next? Susan?
Okay. I am determined to see differently.
Good.
What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son.
Okay, stop. Everything is frequency. Light is a frequency, right? You can talk about it as a frequency of light. That talks about it in a split sense, which isn't true, but we have to talk about it somehow. Okay? Everything is a frequency. When you guys read this, I have the, and some of you other guys like Anna and Tina and have the ability to feel, and Rosie, who's sitting here with me, say hi, Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
Have the ability to discern, let's say. I don't want to use the word judgment. It's like judgment, but it's more like connection and a recognition from an extreme range of frequency availability in our own minds, because a lot of the chatter is gone and we're now opening up to a wider harmonic, right, or a more inclusive harmonic, right? And you will, because you will learn to feel as a way of communication. You will, and women are much more susceptible to this as an idea of intuition, right? Women are more sort of connected to their intuitive side of things. Not that I want to make that out to be something. It's just an example. But when you are first, let's say, and anyone who's a gamer will understand this, when you go to a big open world game, there's often a preliminary section where you get used to the tools and the narratives of the game. And you're not allowed out into the big game proper until you've mastered all those little things, okay? When you go through the associations of, if I refer to it as different incarnations, right? Every incarnation, and I'm going to put a caveat here, reincarnation is not a true thing, right? But the world is not a true thing either, right? But when you go through the idea of learning in the world, you go through a vast range of different energetics in relationships. This one feels like this one feels better, this one. And so you are actually learning to become acclimatized to frequency. Okay. But it seems to have, with the eyes and the ears, this audible and this sort of visual kind of component to it, albeit false, albeit illusory, right? But it's the frequency that you're tuning into, right? And that bodes also to nature. Right. When I lived in my teepee for a while, I tuned in automatically. My sense of things tuned in when the birds suddenly took off from a tree. I became aware. when the wind picked up, I became aware, and I began to realize after a year or two that I was tuning into natural parts of myself, parts of my own consciousness and things that had become reduced to daily living by my regular 9-to-5 kind of life. Okay. Now, what happens in this when you begin to read these lessons, some of these lessons are going to affect all of you guys. You could all read the same lesson, let's say. Some of these lessons are going to affect you differently depending on the ray association or the frequency that you find yourself sort of resonating with the most at the moment. And it will change, right? It changes as you go through because everything here changes. Okay. When you read these lessons, if you don't resonate with a particular lesson, it doesn't matter, right? If you resonate with one more, it's going to be indicative of a portal or a doorway through which, who was it that I said sit with that lesson earlier? But somebody, right, where you can look at that lesson and go, wow, I really felt that one. Okay. And you will notice that same resonation in all of your relationships and all of the situations you find yourself in. Okay. That will be a big indicator to you for that lesson, for the application of the lesson. Does that make sense?
I think so.
All right. How you feeling? Right.
Go ahead.
How you feeling reading the lesson? The vibration that you get off it, you'll find that vibration will be relative.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
So pay attention when you read this. Pay attention to that. I want you to start again. When you read this, pay attention to just how it makes you feel, because I know you've got stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right.
I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witness to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself.
All right. Take a breath. Close your eyes for a second, and I'm going to get you to read it again. Okay. Now, like I've said to the other guys today on this thing, I want you to read it to yourself. Forget about me. Forget about the Zoom meeting. You've got a big exam tomorrow. Jesus is going to give you an exam, and this is what you got to cram for or study for. Okay. I want you to let it in. Totally let it in. You have to hear it. Right? Ears that don't hear will now hear. All right, but you're the one that has to tell yourself and activate yourself. I need to hear this. I really need to let this in. And you'll see the difference. You ready? Go for it.
Yeah. I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what God created for his beloved Son. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand God. Therefore, I also do not understand his Son. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witnesses to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself.
Did you feel that a bit more?
A bit more. A bit more.
Yeah. It was still kind of flat, right? You're not really grasping it. You're not really letting it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of anxiety in my stomach right now.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's good. That's actually okay. Right. That's the energy that you've got going on for this, not against it. Okay.
I hope so.
That anxiety in your stomach, Just give it to the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
Okay. All of these lessons are designed to bring that up. All anxiety is existential. Okay. You may want to attribute it to the lessons. You may want to attribute it to maybe a job interview tomorrow or whatever is going on in your life, but it's not. It's all existential. Okay. The more you involve yourself in this kind of disciplinary training, the more it will bring up that anxiety, the more it will become intolerable. But your awakening keeps pace with you with that. Okay. So there is a physical component to this where you'll notice when I open my mind, I have a reaction to the light. My body jerks and all sorts of stuff. Okay? That cannot not happen because the body is made as a defense against the light. And when you begin to open your mind to the light again, the body also undergoes shifts on a cellular level, right? Reintegration, or what, I don't even know what to call it, right? Reprogramming, something, in order to become serviceable and useful. Okay, things get healed. I healed my mind of cancer and my body, same, healed of cancer. Okay, all of these things happen. The anxiety that you feel is the anxiety of the return to truth. Okay, being existential. The same, if I refer to it like a portal, the same portal that you came out of to enter the dream state, or that you came through to enter the dream state, was terrifying because prior to that, let's say you'd only ever known the perfect love and security of eternity, your father's warmth and protection. Okay. But you've actually, and that moment you've never quite forgotten. You've actually got to go back through that same portal. Okay. So the closer you get to it, the more fear it's going to bring up. And if you look at your whole life, honestly, you've always tried to escape from fear. Everyone does, not just you, everybody. Everybody naturally doesn't gravitate to fear. They want to get away from things that make them fearful. It's not the things. The things are symbols that show you something else about yourself. Okay? So that's actually good that you're feeling anxiety. The practice of these lessons and the application of the principles that these lessons embody will help you when it comes to the point of being still, learning to be still and breathe and staying in your circle, will help you to allow, and you may run away, you may jump out the circle and whatever and go and have a whiskey or whatever, you know. No right or wrong.
No, I'm not. No.
Well, you can say no, but I tell you that, like, Jesus talks about it as a tiny moment of terror. But
I don't drink. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever,
I don't drink.
whatever adjustment technique you have, right?
I definitely have those.
Okay, you will find that the more you assure yourself that you can go back through the portal because you came from the portal, right? The more you will encourage yourself to be still in that anxiety and actually let it come up instead of adjusting to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm tired
instead
of
adjusting to it. Right.
Yeah, I'm tired of adjusting to it. I am.
Right. Well, you're training
old.
yourself now not to adjust. Basically, that's the whole teaching. Resist, not evil.
Yeah.
Okay. And that'll take a minute, you know. So be gentle on yourself and just, you know, recognize it's a process.
Yeah. It is.
I used to have a lot of anxiety in relationship to all sorts of things. And I'm not saying I don't have any now, but my mind takes care of it by itself for me now. I've trained my mind to do what I need it to do.
Okay.
And my battery,
so I need to give to the Holy Spirit.
Right. My battery's about to die. So, Tina, if you can take over from me, I think it's about to die.
It's not working.
Thank you so much, Dave.
It's charging, but it seems to be
Let
using
it
more
stop.
battery than it's charging. I don't know what's going on here. So
Well, let's run it to the end. Let's run it to the end.
you want to run it to the end?
Yeah, I mean, just when you die, you die. I'll take over.
All right. Let's just die now and be born again. Sada, can you read one, please, darling? Let's have it.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're on. Is it lesson 22?
Yes.
That'll do.
Okay.
Good.
What I see is a form of vengeance.
Good.
The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything and by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of His Son. It is my own attack thoughts which give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace God intended me to have.
Good. Good. Nash, you want to do one?
Yeah.
How's the baby?
Oh, so good. A bundle of joy.
Yeah. Beautiful. I think it was Krishna who said a baby is a blessing to the world, and it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Can escape from the world by giving up
Speak up.
attack thoughts.
Good.
I can
Speak up.
escape the world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies my salvation, and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack.
Good.
As forgiveness allows love to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this that I choose to see in place of what I look on now.
You've looked on a world of attack for long enough. I know when you read that lesson, that means that has total meaning to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You can feel the truth of a person's reading. You can feel their resonance with it because you are a frequency. You are an idea in the mind of God, and ideas have a resonance. When you guys read these lessons, I know when they're resonating with you. I feel it when they are. If I don't feel it, I will address you. Because the whole point of relationships, and this is a relationship, this Zoom meeting is a form of a relationship. The whole point of a relationship is to bring the equilibrium of the relationship to to bring the relationship to its equilibrium, to its most advantageous point. I always take it verbatim that anyone who comes to a Zoom meeting is here because they want healing, because they're asking for help. I don't have people here that want to argue and combat me and debate concepts. Not that I'm not open to that, but that's not what this is for. By the time you get to this kind of format, by the time you get to this kind of platform, all of that should really be out of your system. You should have learned by now what it gets you to have resistance to anything. Whether you resonate or relate to everything I say or part of what I say, it doesn't matter. Everything is always perfect, and that's what you're always learning. I will correct you. Jesus says, don't correct your brothers. In this format, I will correct you if I feel it's necessary. I'm not going to let you fall into a ditch. I am my brother's keeper, and that is, I had so many guys that were there for me that just brought me back again and again and again, showed me the way home again and again and again. And sometimes I didn't like it. My teacher, Ted, got in my face several times, and man, sometimes I felt this big. But you know how grateful I am? Total gratitude, total gratitude. But old Dave, past Dave, had that happen to past Dave would have been out of there like a dog with its tail between its legs because it hadn't seen the value. Old Dave didn't see the value in defenselessness, didn't see the value in gratitude, didn't see the value in compassion, didn't see the value in a lot of things that really stick out for me now as things that, oh my God, how the hell did I not even see that? Because you cannot see your own denial. That's why it's called denial. You can't see it. You need help to see it. And without your brother, you cannot see it. All right. Jesus says in the Course very clearly, make your decisions with your brothers. Don't make them on your own, because it's this coming together. Salvation is joining. I'm learning to join with my brothers in decision making. And in the absence of a physical brother, he says, call upon me and I will stand in for the ego. Okay. This is really, and I know guys come and go. Everybody comes to these Zoom meetings and they get what they need to get for the moment that they're there, and then they go on and they'll apply, and some guys come back and some don't and whatever. I used to be concerned about that. And now I'm not concerned about it anymore, because I know the done deal of this, and I know the necessity for the participation in this is God-oriented, not Dave-oriented. But I know that because of that, the part that I play in this is just as important as the part you play in this, because I'm learning as I teach. Okay. And would I, when Jesus says, would you accuse yourself of the same failures in learning, or would you accuse yourself of the same acts against yourself that you accuse your brothers of? No, I wouldn't. And I won't compromise that. That's why some of you guys, I push you in the deep end and I tell you, it's like, all right, I know who you are. I know you are a child of God. I know you are divine. And here we are together learning to live from that, whether we remember it or not. You know, but there's no, I mean, when you first pick up the course, there's no easy way to pick up the course. There's no soft way in, right? As soon as you start reading it, it is an absolute confrontation. And you're like, holy shit. That's how it has to be. Because the ego is suspicious, vicious, cunning, and baffling, and you cannot compromise. Right? And Jesus even says that in the Course. Child of God, accept no compromise where death plays a part. Okay? And throughout this whole process, death is a constant shadow. It's an idea. And you have to face it. You have to look at that idea, which is where we came in prior to the 20-minute book that we're doing. Right? You have to look at it at some point as an idea. But the hallmarks of death are pain, suffering, all of these things, right? We tend to think of death as just when my body finally gives up the ghost. Jesus talks about death as even in the slightest sigh of discontent, death is present, right? Because God's will for you is perfect happiness. And that's going to be your barometer, right? If God's will for me is perfect happiness, how is it that I'm choosing to experience happiness? In suffering? Some people do. Some people make a whole identity out of suffering. You go to nursing homes, a lot of old people like to tell you about their bung knees and their bad backs and how many operations they've had. And that's their big news. They get excited when they've got someone to tell their stuff to. You know, God bless them all. But to be happy for no reason, to be happy because you've accepted salvation for yourself, which has lifted you up from the world in a realization that, holy shit, I'm actually participating in my own salvation. Let that be real. Let that dawn on you. Ears that don't hear, let yourselves hear that. You are consciously participating in your own salvation. This is a celestial, spiritual happening. And you are involved. And it's as hard to hear that as it is to sometimes read these lessons. Partly because the mind is continually looking for witnesses outside of itself to confirm what I'm telling you. And that's why I always tell you guys, get out of your comfort zones. Where's Carolyn? Carolyn's going to be running down the street naked any minute. Whoops. I don't know if she's still here. Oh, there she is. Yep. All right. So Carolyn wrote to me the other day, and I know she won't mind me using her as an example, telling me of her woes and whatever was going on. And it's like, and I said to her, you know, get out of your comfort zone. Just so you can see the lack of the depth of integrity that you have with your own efforts to overcome limitation, right? Because these things turn in on themselves and you suddenly find, oh, my back hurts, and oh, I've got a cancer, or oh, I've got a brain tumor. That's what happens, right? There has to be this understanding, and you will develop it, that constant change in the world is the same as constant changelessness in eternity. It's a singular action of mind. Okay? If I find myself in a comfort zone, I will know it, because not only will it start to become feeling like a prison, not only will it start to become feeling like so familiar to me, my daily routine, even in a spiritual sense, but my body will begin to report the indicators of the comfort zone itself. Aging, sickness, pain, suffering, and death, right? Get out there. Make experiments with your faith. Where's Max? I don't think he's here today. I told Max to get out and start living in faith and have some bold experiments, and he totally did it. He just up and went. Right? But each of you has your own sort of opportunities, your own. It's like someone is going to come to you, let's say today, and they're going to say, hey, come to my birthday party, or hey, come shopping with me. And you're going to have resistance to it for whatever reason. Why? Because you're trying to maintain a comfort zone. A comfort zone is an idea about yourself. It's not a physical place necessarily, although you will equate it with that often. This is my house. These are my comfy pillows, to look at it very practically, which is why saying yes to things and allowing yourself to step outside of whatever the familiar, and the regular, staying open-minded to the fact that it's only God that asks. If somebody asks me to their birthday party, it's God that asks. I might tell myself in my spiritual hubris that, I don't go to birthday parties anymore. That's not my deal. I've transcended the need for celebrating temporal milestones, etc., etc., etc. It's not about that. There's no such thing as a birthday party. Who's having a birthday party? God? It's a calling. Everything is a calling. Always calling me forward, always calling me. There's never a moment that God's voice doesn't call upon my forgiveness to save me. And it can look like anything. An invitation to a birthday party. Come over to my house. Can I borrow $5? Whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay? If you've got really bad karma, right, and I don't like the idea of karma, but if your learning cycle is very open, right, it takes you a long time, you'll realize the cycles of your learning come around once every sort of 5-10 years. You might find that you won't recognize the nature of that invitation so quickly, right? But through your mind training, you're starting to become more aware of your purpose. And so when something presents itself to you again and again and again, right, this person keeps asking me to their damn birthday parties, right? Well, it's not about the birthday party. It's God asking you again and again and again to say yes to the truth of yourself, to say yes to taking another step. And it may lead you into an awful place, into a confrontation. And by necessity, more than likely, it's going to. Because you have to look at your own bullshit. Right? Jesus says, seek for the blocks and find them. You have to look at them. You have to look upon fear before you can realize that you made it up. Stop running from it. Stop trying to build a comfort zone so you don't have to look at it, and actually become the adventurer and the crusader that Jesus is asking you, listen, learn, and do in the course, and be about it. My father's business is being about the confrontation with fear. Not for its validation, but because I actually believe in it. I believe that there are things to be fearful of in the world. Jesus tells me clearly, I am in danger nowhere in the world. What lesson is that? 168 or something? Tina, can you find that lesson? I think we'll read that one. All of you guys, it's like, be open to saying yes. Be like Colin. Right? I tell Colin to go swimming in the ice. He just gives me a total yes. If I told him to go and climb Mount Everest, he'd give me a total yes. Not because it's got anything to do about climbing Mount Everest. Because he is purposeful in his heart. His heart is purposeful. His mind is yet a little weak. But that's where the mind training comes in. Right? Youth is not always an advantage except to an old person. But I would rather have this course when I was very young than when I'm very old. I used to wish that I'd discovered it. Why didn't somebody give me this course when I was 10, 12, 14? Partly because I wouldn't have seen the value in it then. I hadn't suffered. Right? But there is no need to suffer to accept salvation. You can simply see the reasonability of the offering, recognize the nature of where you find yourself, and just say, yes, Lord, here I am. And the experiences that you have are going to be the witnesses to your yes. Right? Until then, it's going to be yes, but let me just go and sell my goods in the marketplace. And we're all the same. I'm not picking on anyone here. I'm just stating how it is, right? It's just that's the human animal. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. You don't really need the lessons of the course. You don't really need forgiveness. But we've been trudging this circle. If you look at it as the world, we've been trudging these cycles and cycles and cycles for so long, and they've become so dependable, and death has become so familiar. We're not afraid of death anymore. In fact, Jesus even says that. He says, you guys actually like death. I had somebody yesterday say to me, in one of the comments on my videos, I can't wait to die. Be rid of this suffering. It's like, oh man. Where do you start? Where do you begin to put my finger on my nose?
244.
Oh, 244. Thank you. Lesson 244. Matthew, did you fix your microphone? Do you want to read this lesson?
Page 412.
Test, test, test.
Test. That sounds good. We can hear that.
I wasn't searching for the new lesson, 244.
244, I'm in danger nowhere in the world, and it's page 412 in the sparkly. I don't know what it is in the blue book.
I am in danger nowhere in the world. Your son is safe wherever he may be, for you are there with him. He need but call upon your name, and he will recollect his safety and your love, for they are one. How can he fear or doubt, or fail to know he cannot suffer, be endangered, or experience unhappiness when he belongs to you, beloved and loving, in the safety of your fatherly embrace?
Good.
And there we are in truth. No storms can come into the hallowed heaven of our home. In God we secure. For what we can come to threaten God himself. For what can come to threaten God himself or make afraid what will forever be a part of him?
All right. Anna, can you read that same lesson, please? Lesson 244. This is good. All right, where are you sitting there? It's a very intriguing kind of... Is that a club or something? Oh, you're frozen. I'm intrigued. I like these. Look at that. That's nice. You know, when I often have this kind of in joke with Annie and Tina and some of the guys. It's like, in talking about the waiting room of salvation. You know, like when you're done and you kind of go into the waiting room and you can hear that tune, The Girl from Ipanema, and it's sort of like I don't know if any of you guys ever been to a late night club and it's like 4 a.m. and there's one guy playing a piano and nobody wants to go to bed and he's playing the girl from Ipanema, or you can hear it on the overheads. That reminds me like where you guys are. That's sort of how I envision it, like nice walls there and a comfortable couch and just waiting for our brothers.
Yes, it's an office that's been. Oh, we placed some sponges, soundproofing sponges on the walls. So
Okay, nice.
that's what.
You play instruments?
Trying maybe. It's good.
Yeah. That's like me. Oh, cool. Yep. What's that, like a baron or something? Good.
Drum, yes.
All right, Anna, go for it. Marquise, I want you to listen. Gay, listen.
I am in danger nowhere in the world.
Good.
Your son is safe wherever he may be. Your son is safe wherever he may be, for you are there with him. He need but call upon your name, and he will recollect his safety and your love, for they are one. How can he fear? How can he fear or doubt or fail to know he cannot suffer? How can he fear or doubt or fail to know he cannot suffer, be endangered, or experience unhappiness when he belongs to you, beloved and loving, in the safety of your fatherly embrace?
Right, stop there. Do you think Jesus is just kind of waxing lyrical there? It's kind of like third person, right? That's actually your declaration, right? That's your declaration to your Father through Jesus. When you read that, it's like he's not talking to you, he's talking to God. Right? You feel that. There's a whole nother layer of relationship there. He's talking to God. He's giving an assurance. He's the head of the atonement. And those are his words through you. That's how certain he is of you. That's how much faith he has in you. Right? Can you see now why you can't fail in this? That's the real Jesus right there. He's telling God, don't worry about it. I got this, right? That's why you cry, Tina, when you read these lessons, because you know that. That's exactly why. And that's not good nor bad nor anything other. You were there. You saw the thorns, you saw the nails, the blood. You were there. Probably all you guys were. 144,000. You know that Longinus, the soldier that pierced Jesus' side in the flesh, has as much forgiveness as you or me or anyone, and is entitled to the same forgiveness as you or me or anyone. Forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. I'm holding that spear. We're all holding it. Right? It's mercy. Because there is nothing but mercy in God. The interpretation that I might want to give it otherwise is nonsense. It is for this that I have come. You know, Judas is entitled to just as much forgiveness. He didn't betray Jesus. I mean, Jesus even says that in the Course. He had to play his part. He had to do what he did. Everything is always perfect. It couldn't have happened another way.
Jesus actually asked him to play the part.
Exactly. Jesus knew he was going to be betrayed. He'll betray the Son of Man with a kiss. He knew he was going to be crucified in the Garden of Gethsemane. He knows that you will awaken.
Yeah.
Because you are entitled to miracles. You have a bigger part to play in this beyond your own awakening. But your awakening comes first. You may have to rise again to teach it, and so be it. Keep reading. And if you don't, so be it as well.
And there we are in truth.
Good.
No storms can come into the hallowed haven of our home. In God we are secure. For what can come to threaten God himself or make afraid what will forever be a part of him?
Good. Any questions? All sins are forgiven. All errors are forgiven. The ones you think you've made in the past, the ones you think you might make in the future, there is no such thing. It is an illusion. You are whole and perfect as God created you, and you have nothing to say about it. And I want you to relax into that. Just sit in your wholeness and your perfection and know that you are not the body, you are the spirit. You are not the flesh. You are divinity itself. For a moment, we seem to be embodied. We seem to be incarnate. And so be it, for the greater glory of God. Ted used to say things like, I'm just here for one. I'm just here for one person. If I have to come back and have another incarnation for one brother, for that joining, for that moment, then so be it. It's worth it. We used to print books. I mean, we still kind of do. We used to print sparkly books and those little books that you guys have in the thousands and give them out just for one brother. When Jesus says only 2 in 10,000 will hear this, fair enough. I like to think more will hear this. We've got a whole Zoom meeting here of people that are hearing this. Consciousness has raised up in 2,000 years since the resurrection into humanity, into the mind of God's Son. Reason is beginning to return. We're looking at the world and we're doubting what we see. We're holding it up to question at last. Why? Why is it like this? What is the point? We're recognizing I'm the one who's given it all the meaning it has for me. I say this is good and this is bad, and I suffer by my own accounting. Why do I do that? You know, a little bit of self-reflection is very, very healthy. It may produce answers that you're unprepared for. It may produce assumptions that lead you down to darker rabbit holes. But you've got the Course with you now. You've got your brothers with you now. Don't be afraid to step out into uncomfortable territory. When I was a much younger man in the incarnation of things, I confronted my fears in the physical nature. I didn't have a Course in Miracles. I didn't understand that I could do it in my mind. I jumped out of an airplane. I climbed a mountain. I went scuba diving. I did all the scary things that sort of, you know, today people, they're thrill seeking. Look at your fear. It's just a white sheet over a basketball in an amusement park train of horrors. Don't look at it like this, peeking out through the gap. Just do this. Look at it. Get it over and done with. I actually think I can die. You know? That fear of death, I actually think I can die. And within your mind, when Jesus says, look for the blocks and find them, it's like, I want to find that. I want to make that true for me that I actually think I can die. Because until it goes kaboing, until a penny drops, until I actually find that place in my mind where I've given that value, it's just a concept. One of the biggest, you know, the first obstacle to peace, and I'll use this across the board, the first obstacle to peace is the desire to get rid of it. And you'll say to me, well, that's ridiculous. Why would I desire to get rid of peace? Of course it's ridiculous. I'm agreeing with you, it's ridiculous. But that doesn't mean that somewhere in my mind isn't tucked away in some dark vault an original decision to keep peace at bay, right? Otherwise, why do I seek for the blocks and find them? I have to seek for the blocks. And I remember Rosie sitting here one day when we first met, and she was reading. She was about 30 days into the course, and she started bawling her eyes out on the couch because she suddenly realized she didn't want God, even though her whole life she'd been telling herself a different story that she did. But she actually had the penny drop moment of finding that place in her mind where she didn't want God.
Right. Going to run the house naked. They're running away from me.
She's trying to run away from me. You know? And that was a true moment. Those are true moments. Some of you guys are going to have true moments reading these lessons. It's going to really resonate and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's me. That's how I think. Right? And you have those penny drop moments. But there are 4 specific ones that Jesus gives you. And if you use them, you can reflect, right, through self-reflection. You can reflect all of your relationships off those 4 obstacles to peace. Right? And you'll know which one it is because you'll resonate more closely with it. And I've done plenty of work, like my own personal atonement, looking at my relationships, going, oh my God, this is reflecting my belief in death, or this is reflecting my belief in not wanting peace, or the body's valuable, which is the second one. You know, I actually think the body's valuable for what it can offer me. You know? And every time you have one of those confrontations, every time you find yourself in some kind of a relationship and you're upset about something, or you've got a grievance or whatever, you've got to learn to see those as good things. It's like, cool, there's a grievance. Awesome. Now let's see. Let me be still and ask the Holy Spirit to show me what this grievance actually is. Because it's not about somebody took my lollipop. It's a grievance that I have against God. If God is everything, all my grievances are against God. Right? In the form, it shows up in a way that I can understand. Someone took my lollipop. I've got a grievance. It's like, no. Let's look at it as energy. That person is playing a part for me that I've asked them to play to show me something about my divine relationship. I believe that I'm a victim. I believe that I'm hard done by. I believe all these things, which all gravitate back to one of the obstacles to peace. Okay? All gravitate back even further than that to the original idea that I think I'm separate from God. Tiny mad idea. Right? When Jesus says that this course is not beyond immediate learning, that's where you go to. Tiny mad idea. But there are not that many minds that want to take that much of a deep dive. So it's kind of broken down for you like an iceberg, you know, and you look at it and it's like, let me look at this relationship, that relationship, this relationship, that relationship, and you become comfortable. Who was it had the anxiety? You become kind of comfortable or more accustomed, Susan. You become more accustomed to actually doing the work and being still and allowing for that energy to come up, right? Now, dark night of the soul, when you have dark night of the soul, all of that energy comes up at once and it's horrific. I would not advise anybody, you know, I mean, I don't know that you really have a choice in it. I didn't, but it is absolutely the worst thing. Jesus talks about it as a tiny moment of terror, perhaps. It's like, man, that is the biggest understatement I've ever heard in my life. Jesus Christ, master of the understatement. But, you know, you do this how you do this. And he says most of you guys will have a slowly evolving training program, right? Learning to stay on track with your training program and not be distracted by the temptations and the trappings of the world. So, you know, it's like, I want to learn how to use my relationships for what they're for. I want to get the most advantage out of them. And that necessitates that I see another whole level of participation in the relationship other than what's presented on the physical front. This relationship has a lot more in it to unpack than what just my eyes and my ears hear and see and my hands touch. Okay? It has the potential, any relationship has the potential, if I'm acknowledging it truly and if I'm willing to give it over entirely to the Holy Spirit, to bring the entirety of my salvation to me right here and right now. It's like when Jesus went into the desert and drew his circle, 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. It wasn't one day and one night. 40 days and 40 nights. You know, Now, that's an idea of total devotion, of doing a total deep dive, and people do things like that, right? I don't know about 40 days and nights, but people go into monasteries and won't talk for years, or they'll do pilgrimages, or they'll do all sorts of things. But really what they're doing in the form of things is really nothing more than representing a symbolic decision in the mind. You can be still for a single instant and get the same result out of that stillness as doing a participative devotion for 20 years. Right? Because the mind is learning to become miracle-minded, and Jesus says the miracle can collapse the time that learning might have taken over a period of thousands of years. Right? Which brings us back to the other idea of reincarnation again, or a lesson repeats until it's learned. You guys are on the forefront of something. You guys are part of a whole new underground movement, a whole new thing that's going on in the world that has only had a birth in the world for the last 50 years. If I go back into like Vedantic texts, which I've been looking at a little bit lately, you know, like they go back over 8,000 years and some maybe even 12,000 years. You know, consciousness has risen up to a point where now we have this concise text, 365 lessons. People are awakening here, there, and everywhere. This is happening. This is a happening thing. The witnessing to the happening is through the participation in it. And each of you guys has your own soul contract or your own agreement with the atonement, whatever you want to look at that as, and it's going to play out accordingly. For now, my part seems to be this. But you will learn your part through the relationships that you're willing to heal, through the relationships you're willing to look at honestly and see where those blocks to the awareness of love's presence exists in those relationships, through specialness perhaps, through grievance perhaps. You'll see it. The equilibrium of your life experience, of your relationship with the divine, of your world, God-man relationship has to be brought to the singular point of I am in all your affairs. In this relationship, I am. There's nothing outstanding. There's nothing pulling me or trying to trick me into something else. I am. And that's simply a matter of you standing up and refusing to participate where death plays a part. If you can't do that, you have forgiveness. If you can't do that, you have, thank you, you have miracles. Okay. And it's not really that you can't, it's just mind training is this kind of progressive kind of thing. You're learning. You're in a period of learning. Jesus says you have to overlearn the course to learn it, and so be it. What else are you going to do? You got something better going on than salvation? I'm all ears. Pray, all right? Pray. Ask for help. Find yourself with your knees on the floor and your bedroom door shut. Talk to your Father. Talk to God. You don't need to know the words. There's no particular words. Talk to God like you're talking to me, like you're talking to your brother or your mother or your father. Hey, Dad, here I am again. I need help. Let it come from your heart. Prayer, meditation, mind training, all of these things work together. All of these things form a part of your own process of undoing and remembering. If you don't get distracted by the world, you will feel the call to those particular things. I feel like I need to pray. I feel like I need to meditate. I feel like I need to go and just say sorry to somebody. Whatever it is, but you're learning to feel. Heart and mind. Heart is the passion. Mind makes the decision. But in this, we're making our decisions together. We're making our decisions with Jesus. or with our higher mind through the Holy Spirit. Does that sound good, Deb? They're still there, you know. They're still right behind you. God goes with you wherever you go. I could tell you some pretty cool stories about you would call them guardian angels, perhaps, or spirit guides or whatever. I don't want to get into that because it's such a loose area, but when God goes with me wherever I go, that is in my heart and my mind together. But there are also other energetics to it that, you know, we did I don't know, oh, you don't know the house we had in Cannonvale, but we had a house. What was that place we had in Cannonvale, that road?
Eshelby.
No, not Eshelby. The big
Yeah,
pole
yeah.
house.
Just
Anyway, where Centro Shopping Centre is, Deb, we had we used to do sessions in a house up there, right? We'd do light sessions. Daydream Court, that was it. And there's a massive pole house which we were renting at the time. It was like 3 or 4 stories high. It's really big, but it's on a slope, so the bottom level is just a little tiny wedge. And one night, who was it? The real estate lady that came? Can't remember her name.
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had this real estate woman that, right, for the course, and we were doing it. We were doing a course group meeting, and the real estate industry is one of those horrible sort of like manipulative deal making, you know, like sort of things. And everyone I've ever known who's been in that industry hates it. But she'd come along, she'd found the course, she's come along, and she had this awful energy of that whole real estate thing going on. And she was desperate to find Jesus, desperate for Jesus. And there was probably about 8 or 9 people there that night. And so we put on some music and got in a circle and did a light session, right? So we're doing a light session. And she burst into like screaming and laughing and tears and like the whole thing, everything happened. And at the exact moment, right where she was looking, I saw a pillar of light, like a physical, or like an obelisk, like a, I don't know if you know what an obelisk is. It's like a long, sort of smooth oval shape of light. And it was golden light, white in the middle, golden aura all around it. But she saw actually the physical manifestation of Jesus, arms, legs, and everything else, right where that light was. And I said, you just saw him, didn't you? And she's like, I just saw Jesus. You know, like literally just saw him with her body's eyes, you know, in the way that her mind manifested for her to see it, you know. But it was really beautiful. So don't think that those things aren't possible and aren't around you. They are. They are around you all the time. There are other stories too that, you know, but anyway, I won't get into that. Any questions? Anyone? Francine, you have a question?
I have a question.
Who's that's got a question?
Nash.
Nash, where are you, brother? Hang on, I've got to scroll. I can't find you. Oh, yep, gotcha. Oh, gone again.
Yeah. Got a question with, you know, the asking the Holy Spirit to reinterpret like a collision or a grievance in real time, like what that looks like in practice.
Right. What's your question?
So, like, it's the repetition of that. Like, for me, I notice, like, I have collisions appearing all the time, like my resistance to certain things.
Your
But I
sound's
do
going,
also
bro.
feel.
Can you speak up a bit?
Can you hear me now?
Kind of, yeah. You're a bit far away.
Oh. Let me just try this. I'm going to turn this off. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, the question was like the reinterpret, like how the Holy Spirit reinterprets like what's actually happening, like if there's a collision or a resistance. Like, is that something that is it the continual practice of that, or does it cease the more that that's practiced and becomes more of a resting state of being in communion with the Holy Spirit, or is it still something that you have to do?
I think I understand the nature of your question. You will, right. So a lesson repeats until it is learned. Okay. Now, what occurs is you will have different depths of association with particular frequencies, which show up as things and situations, right? They manifest as people, relationships, etc. Okay. Each of those, because you are whole, because you have a resonant frequency which aligns when Jesus talks about the 12 great rays that extend out from God, right? So you have an alignment with all of those rays. You will find yourself currently in a specific association with one, or maybe on the fringe of traversing to another one, etc., as an idea of healing, right? You go through the 12 particulars of your relationships, and fundamentally, that's the entirety of it. However, each ray is going to present a different lesson. Each frequency that you encounter, this is why I'm teaching you guys to try and feel this. You'll feel that one thing feels like a different to another thing. One person in your life will feel different to another person in your life. Everybody is bringing you a lesson, right? But you can look at something, and if you just skim off the top, right, each opportunity for healing is like an iceberg. You see it on the top. You can see it's an iceberg. You can see there's forgiveness needed there, whatever. But if you don't do a deep dive, if you don't go right down the rabbit hole, you're not going to really know the depth of integrity that the prayer is going to require. And that's where you have to connect with the Holy Spirit. Show me what this actually is. Show me how deep this goes. Show me the full extent of this obstacle, this grievance, this whatever, right? Because it's never a grievance or an obstacle about something in the world. It's always about your relationship with God, and it always has the potential to go right the way back, right the way to the core of the matter, which is the tiny mad idea. I believe I'm separate. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jesus says that forgiveness will bring you near enough that the love of God can reach down to you and raise you up to him. Right. In each of those relationships, in each of those situations where healing seems to be something that you need to apply, it has the potential to bring you near enough. Okay. Any given one, right? Any moment of forgiveness accepted wholly can bring you completely to the threshold of God raising you up to him. Right. What happens is, though, and especially when you're new to this, right, you don't really know, you don't really understand how deep grievances actually go. What seems to be on the surface as someone took my lollipop might have a long history through many incarnations of somebody taking your lollipop, right? And sometimes you're able to just sort of like flip it off. It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't even need forgiveness for that, right? And you let things slide. Don't let them slide, right? Catch everything, even the tiniest little sigh of discontent, because everything is the tip of an iceberg, and that iceberg, it's going to keep bobbing up. If you just chip a bit off the top, what happens? It bobs up again. It gets lighter on the top, but it bobs up, and the same amount sticks on the surface, and you're like, oh, there it is again. There's that iceberg. I thought I healed that. It's like, no, you just looked at it on the surface, right? One of the things Jesus talks about in the Course in Prayer, right, about prayer, is the different levels of prayer. Right. Initially, prayer is a lot like, for most people, is a lot like bargaining. I'll give up smoking, Jesus, if you just fix this for me. Right. I'll stop. Right. There's this kind of bargaining. ultimately the ladder of prayer leads to simple gratitude for everyone, for everything, because you realize that everything's leaning towards you to bless you, whether you like it or not. Right? But there's a whole process in between those two perspectives where you realize that, oh, my prayer is half-hearted. I looked at this iceberg, I asked for the healing, but I didn't really ask for the healing of it. I didn't ask all the way. I didn't dig right in and feel it in my heart and soul. Right? And I've had that same experience. I've asked for help with things, and you get up from your prayers and you realize, man, that prayer was just lip service. It wasn't really anything. And then I've gotten up from other prayers, and it's like, woo, that prayer was damn good. I meant that. There was nothing more there was no more heart space in that prayer left for me to give. Right? Now, it's not that your prayers aren't answered. They're always answered. But your ability to perceive the answer, your ability to witness to the answer depends upon how much integrity you have with the prayer of your heart. Okay? Sometimes you'll ask for help with something, or help me with this, Jesus, help me with this, Jesus. Next day, you forget that you've even asked for help with it. Yeah. Right? Which is why sometimes that shit's got to come around again and again until it's slapping you in the face so that you realize, it's like reading these lessons. How many times are you going to read them before they totally get in and you react to them, before they begin to affect you? Because that's where the change begins to start. Yes. Right? You have to become again like little children. Right? That innocence that you are is within you. It is not lost, but it's covered up with all this hubris. And that transfers to lip service in prayer. Right? But you don't know that's what you're doing, right? You've hidden the secret of the secret of salvation is, I'm doing this to myself. You don't know you're doing this to yourself. So you don't stop to question, oh, was that a good prayer or not? Did I really mean that? Or am I really being honest? Do I really want to forgive? And you'll see it if it shows up again. Obviously, you didn't really want to forgive. Obviously, you still want, but only you can decide for that. I've had plenty of those. There it is again. I thought I'd forgiven that. I thought I was done with that. And it's like, no, there it is again. There it is again. Let me go deeper. Let me sit with it more honestly. Let me connect with the Holy Spirit and ask with all my heart and soul and power and might. Yeah. And that'll look like for you whatever it looks like for you. For me, it looked like whatever it looks like for me. I can't tell you what integrity of prayer is for you. I only know it for me because I've seen how lacking in it I've been in different situations. It's like I know the potential in me to be bloody wishy-washy. Right? That's why I always err on the side of denial. I'm not going to trust myself. I'm going to trust Jesus. Here I am, Lord. I'm a liar, and my dad was a liar, and his great dad before him was a liar. I'm the son of a liar, going right back. His great-great-grandpappy was a liar. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the world where we're all liars. Every word that proceeds from the mouth of man is a lie. Therefore, let your yes be yes and your no be no, because any more than that is deception. Right? That's it. That's what that means. It's like, all right, I'm not going to trust myself. I'm just going to trust God. I see that I got myself into this shit. I can't get myself out of it. I'm going to stop trying to depend on my own thinking to think that I can think my way out of it. I can't. My pointy little brain didn't get me nothing. It just gets me to the end of the road where I give up.
Yep. That's the way.
Yeah, I think it's like it's funny because there's been a
there you
catalyst.
go again. No. Look what you just did. I think it's like.
Yeah.
I just gave you the whole thing and you sat there waiting to say your piece. I think it's like, right? If you truly heard what I said, you'd be making a beeline for your bedroom, shut the door and be on your knees. You wouldn't have anything to come back with. And I know you can take that from me.
Yeah, because the catalyst for the question got answered in this meeting because of my self-centeredness has been so confronted by having a child, and the pain. I thought it was all their fault, and it turns out the finger on my nose. I've been creating this hell for myself.
Nash, you can already see it. What are you doing? You can already see it. You should be in prayer, not talking about it, not outsourcing the story. I'm not interested in your story. No one here's interested in the story. We all got a story.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing with it in your own mind.
Yeah.
You're looking at the iceberg. You're not healing the iceberg. Right, now stay there. You don't want God. Now let that take you to the bottom of the rabbit hole. That's where the healing is. You know, one time at lunch, and this is exactly the same story for me that you're looking at right here, right? Different scenario. I had this girlfriend. I don't know what a girlfriend is, right? I've gone through my whole life just flat foot through every relationship I've been in, not making it up as I go along. I don't know what a relationship's supposed to look like, right? Nobody gave me a handbook when I was born here and said, this is how you treat it. My dad tried to. This is how you treat people. But shit happens and you can't avoid it, right? Reckon one relationship after another. And I was going out with this girl called Daniela for about 3 weeks. And nothing in the relationship was going my way. Nothing. I was looking at this relationship thinking, what the hell am I doing in this relationship? This is just not, I got no vibration with this, you know? And so I told her, I said, I can't do this. I can't keep going on with this. This is not working for me. Anyway, she went and told Ted. She was also attending the healing center. She went and told Ted, right? By that time, I'd probably had relationships, like sexual, physical relationships with probably 3 different women at the healing center over a period of whatever years, right? I still had a lot of young man energy, put it that way. Ted called me out in the backyard at lunchtime in front of everybody having lunch about what I was doing. He made me see what I was doing in my own mind in front of everybody, right? And he was loud. He made sure everyone could hear. He was loud. Everyone stopped eating their lunch and paid attention because he was the main man and I was the subject of his ire. And I stood there defenseless. I knew better than to defend myself against him, against his accusations and his say-so. And I took it and I let it affect me. And then when he'd finished, I said to him, I said, is that all you got to say? And he looked at me and he goes, yep. And then I walked away. He goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go pray. Right? Because I already knew what he was telling me was true about me. I just needed him to tell me because I couldn't see it for my own self. Right? You already know the situation you're in. You just can't quite see it for your own self yet. When I'm telling you, you need to be in prayer right now, I mean you need to be in prayer right now. I'm not saying after this Zoom. I mean, see you later, Nash, go pray. Right? Because you're in touch with it now. You're right in touch with it, right here, right now. That's why you asked the question. Right? You have an opportunity in front of you for healing right now, and I'm joining you in it, and I'm saying, brother, let's be about this together. Go pray. Got it?
Yeah.
That story gets done in you today. That story is foot healed in you today. Go do it. Don't waste this energy. You've got a lot of it.
Okay.
I
I'll
love
see
you.
you guys. Love you guys.
I love you, bro. See you next week. I want to hear about it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, that's good. Don't waste your pain. All right, it's important, you guys. Don't waste your pain. It's like, man, if you got your finger on the pulse of something going on for you right now, give it to the Holy Spirit. If you're at peace and everything seems to be cool, fine. You know? But use your pain. Use your story. If you've got a story, it is painful. Doesn't matter what the story is. All temporal association is the embodiment of an idea of death, is the embodiment of an idea of grievance against God. All of it. When Jesus says, give up the world and follow me, the whole world, all the stories it contains. There is only one thing you need to know, and that's the truth of yourself. Everything else is a lie. You have a repetitive story like Nash, and I know you won't mind me using his example since we're all here for it. You have a repetitive story that keeps showing up. That's exactly what the course is for. Exactly. It's better that you go to pray than to not pray and have that story show up again, because it might come back with a pitchfork next time. Each time it comes around, it gets a little more insistent. It gets more frustrating. It carries a bigger, obvious, more, you know, it's like, holy shit, I got to deal with this. And you know it. You know you got to deal with it. That's like the first obstacle to peace. I don't want peace. That's where you see it. I don't want peace. I just want to tell my story. I want to justify my own association with this in front of Dave so I can get validation for my story one way or the other. Right? But it's like, why am I doing that? My teacher, Greta, used to say, I'll do that with you once. I'll do that with you once. I'll listen to your story once and then go deal with it. You know, when I used to go to AA, everybody would come and tell their story. You get up, hi, I'm Dave, I'm an alcoholic, whatever. And you would tell your story. Maybe you didn't want to because you didn't feel comfortable. You were the new guy in the room, whatever, but eventually you tell your story. After you tell your story, that's it. You're straight into the principles, the 12 steps, 12 traditions, the big blue book, and you get yourself a sponsor and you get clean. You get sober. Nobody is interested in your story, including you. I'm happy to hear about your miracles. I'm happy to hear about the shifts in consciousness and everything that goes along with healing. But let's be just about that. Does that make sense? Let's be about that. The old world is gone now. We're headed towards the new world, the forgiven world, the true world, the healed world. And it's all or nothing. We just jump in the deep end. So, are you good with that? She's good with that. I know Kevin's good with that. Kevin stands at the deep end just in case you guys start blowing bubbles. He's like the lifeguard. Remember Stan used to be the lifeguard at the swimming pool at Byron Bay when he came to Wisconsin? No, are you guys hearing me? I think I've lost it. Oh, I think I'm out.
We can hear you.
Oh, all right, can hear me. Oh, okay, cool. All right, that's good. All right, Tina, I'll leave you with it.
Yeah.
Thank
We're
you,
just gonna pray.
everybody.
We're gonna sit here.
Yeah,
We're
just
good.
like
Yeah,
just a
this
prayer.
is it. Yeah, we're just gonna be still.
Alice,
Come
you
pray
remember
with me a
Stan, don't
while.
you? With his,
Okay.
yeah. I don't pray. I'm just grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Same.
Peace. Any more questions? I should just ask any more questions. Did anyone else? I'll send you up to pray like Nash. Get in your room. Get in your room.
Thank you.
All right.
Just stay a while and pray.